Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday, late morning, early afternoon, however you want to look at it. Aggro joined on the desk by Taco. We've got the Smite Minor League for you here today, and if you haven't watched it all, the Smite Minor League's been very competitive so far, so you're in for a really good day of Smite.
Especially when you factor in the European competition, and that's actually what we're going to be opening up with, too. So I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to this Flashpoint versus OutCold match.
It's going to be a good one. Let's take a look at the standings so you can catch up on where all these European teams are currently sitting. OutCold, not quite as successful as you may have expected. Everyone in Europe knotted up 1-1. So this third week where everyone's going to play that last team they haven't had a chance to play up against yet is going to be the determining factor on who gets the early leads so far in this league. But we knew Europe was going to be competitive, Taco, but did we know it was going to be every team 1-1 competitive?
I don't think that any of us could have called it that it would be this close in the competition so early on. I would have figured that by week 3, we've already started to see some clear indicators as to which teams are heading towards the bottom of the standings and which teams are headed to the top. But when you've got 4 different teams that just seem to constantly be taking wins and losses off of each other, it just makes you wonder, what is the actual difference in terms of skill level amongst these teams?
It seems very, very close so far, that's for sure. And this Flashpoint roster is one that there wasn't a whole lot of hype around coming into this season. I think that they were kind of under the radar, but I think that we've really seen how well their synergy still goes together. And by the way, Dzoni in the jungle is still really, really good at playing these late game hyper carries.
I think that's another big thing to me also, though. It feels like Dzoni is never really taken a look at, despite the fact that teams have known him for so long in a competitive aspect. I mean, we still see him getting to play the gods like AO that are arguably his best god available. He might even be the best AO in the world right now.
I think that's a pretty solid argument that you could make with how consistently impressive he's been on that selection. But I think this might be the week where that changes, because OutCold is this roster of really established players in the Smite scene, not the minor league scene, but the pro league scene, and having Hazer there as their coach/sub. He's not going to be playing here today. Instead, it's going to be HalfDevil filling in the support role, as Emilito still unavailable to play. But I think that if there's going to be a team that either is going to ban the Wukong right away from Dzoni or have a game plan to attack it, I think it'll be OutCold.
I can definitely expect that also, but another issue that I have with OutCold is just the simple factor that their full roster is hardly ever there. It's been multiple weeks now, and I understand that, there's always going to be last-minute complications, and there's probably a good reason why Emilito has been available. I'm cool with that, but it definitely starts to take an impact here when we're in week 3. You still don't have your full roster, and this is one of the bigger distinguishing weeks, I think, if you want to separate yourself from the bottom to the top.
Absolutely, to play the first time through against all the rosters and not have who you want in your support role is definitely going to be a hard task to overcome. But OutCold sitting at 1-1 so far. It's not like they're lacking for star power without Emilito here. I mean, they still have PrettyPriMe, they still have FrostiaK, they still have a lot of players that can do a lot for this team.
I guess it's just kind of rough when you factor it in from the subs perspective as well, because it feels like a constant. I know PrettyPriMe is a seasoned player, but it is awkward constantly having to think, who am I playing for, and do I have to make adjustments to my playstyle because of that?
Absolutely. I mean, switching around, your support is so integral in everything you're doing around the map. Luckily for OutCold, I think that guys like Dimi have done a very good job of staying consistent so that you don't have to worry quite as much about what your support is doing. Dimi's return to competitive Smite has been one. Look, being 1-1 through the first 2 games, probably not exactly what he was looking for when he said he was coming back to play in the minor league, but overall, I think that Dimi's return has been pretty successful. He's been playing at a very, very high level so far.
Dimi has looked a lot like his old self in a lot of his recent matches. I mean, he's just playing for the team fights. His team fight is just so influential whenever he actually joins the engagement that a lot of teams, I think, have really been struggling with trying to shut him down.
It's one of those things that you really have to worry about when you're up against OutCold. Do we try and focus out Dimi? Do we try and focus out FrostiaK or PrettyPriMe or whoever, Spudio, whoever's in support that week? Well, Let's find out what Flashpoint want to try and do as we're ready for picks and bans. Where do you think you're focusing up against OutCold? Who are the people that you're most scared of?
I don't even necessarily feel like Flashpoint should necessarily focus on OutCold. I think that these are the type of sets where Flashpoint just needs to focus on their own strengths and weaknesses. And I think that if your intentions are to bring down a veteran team like OutCold Gaming, then you need to come in with your own fresh strategies. And I think that Flashpoint is certainly one of those teams that can bring out a little bit more of the unconventional that we don't get to see as often.
And as I mentioned, HalfDevil going to be playing support today for OutCold. A little bit different than having Hazer there. HalfDevil spent the majority of the year last year playing support at the SPL. So we'll see if that raises the level of OutCold, if having a different voice in there will, excuse me, wow, that came out of nowhere, mess him up a little bit. But it's going to be the Wukong ban. That's what we were looking for. And that Dzoni will not get his signature pick in the jungle.
But Flashpoint are able to prioritize this Vamana, and it could be for Sibi, it could be for Dzoni. I think that the flexibility of this Vamana pick is always a nice stride to have as your opener, and I like that the Agni Xbalanque response is what's going to come through next, because Agni, a god that can definitely prioritize items like Divine Ruin that are going to be pivotal for bringing down this Vamana. Not only that, but I think you need some form of self-peel when you're dealing with a god like Vamana that could open up the gateway for heavy dive compositions.
Absolutely, and this is the catch-22 of playing against Flashpoint is you can't really give Dzoni his signature picks and the Bacchus or the Wukongs, but you're leaving open picks like Vamana, which at the minor league level in particular have looked very, very impressive so far. So we'll see if that continues to be the case. Is AMC going to be the selection here for Flashpoint in that duo lane? AMC's getting a little bit of a resurgence recently. We're seeing more of them.
We're definitely probably going to continue to see him as well throughout the progression of Season 6. I think that the introduction of Blackthorns and Runeforge Hammer as possible build ways or build pathways for gods like AMC is it definitely made him a little bit more desirable. And not only that, but duo lane in general is seeing a bit of a meta shift right now. And I think that as the changes continue to take place over the course of like competitive play and just like balance changes in general over the course of the year, I think that we might start to see the rise of the hunters again as well. So hyper carries like AMC come back into the picture.
I was expecting a Kali ban there by OutCold, but instead they go towards the Giannis. Do you think there's any way Johnny's playing this Vamana in the jungle? Because a lot of people are jungling Vamana and making it look pretty good, but it doesn't.
It's unlikely.
It doesn't feel like a Dzoni god.
It's not really a Dzoni god. I think that this is a pick that was more designated for Sibi because Sibi wants something that he can try and bully Dimi out of the laning phase with. But Dimi is someone who's so experienced with this like hyper pressure in solo. I mean, when he played at the top of the crowd level with like energy for so long, I think that he got accustomed to being behind in solo lane because that was how energy always put him. Dimi
played against Release Bologna for a long time, so I think he's doing okay.
He's good to go.
Yeah, he's okay over there. I'm not too worried about him. New on Sun Wukong means that I believe that is a Vamana jungle this time around for Flashpoint. I like OutCold's strategy though because it's been Wukong, Bacchus, or Akali have been the three picks that Johnny's played the most so far this year. So they ban away two of them, pick the third for themselves, and then it's the Dimi tier. Now that's a treat. I'm looking forward to this one now. But this is a very late game composition, it feels like, for OutCold. Do you think it's too late game? Do you think Flashpoint takes game one?
I think that OutCold have made it significantly easier for Flashpoint to punish them. And so with that in mind, I think that I would have to lean towards Flashpoint here.
We'll have to wait and see. OutCold Gaming looking to take a victory here in Game 1 over Flashpoint, but we'll see what happens. Game 1 coming at you right now.
Smite Minor League back in action here. Tom and Toli on the horn for this one. We've got Flashpoint. Those are the guys from Eastern Europe. FaraKrik, Dzoni, Sibi, Fusify, and Kespainify. One of the more fun teams to watch, if you want my opinion, frankly. And then OutCold Gaming. These guys, plenty of talent across the board, plenty of ex-pros, and Spudio.
I like how you mentioned Flashpoint is interesting to watch simply because of their draft. Normally, you wouldn't even see this Fafnir AMC in Season 6, but so far, Flashpoint have made it kind of their identity to do this style, and I like it because Kespainify playing the AMC has good ability damage, basic attack damage, and you just amplify it even further with Fusify's Coerce, increasing the attack speed. Not only helps out this Muzen comp, but even FaraKrik on the Nuwa to get more passive stacks, Dzoni on the Vamana jungle to be able to stomp during the Colossal Fury.
Let's zoom out real quick and just take a look at the two different approaches to the game as well. You heard Ryan and Taco mention on the desk that OutCold Gaming, Fusify gets involved here, purple buff, very late game oriented. Looking at you, Kalima, looking at you, Xbalanque, right? These characters definitely come into themselves a little bit later. Whereas Flashpoint, Sun Wukong, I mean this is a mid game character. Vamana kind of hits his stride there in that mid to late game as well.
I would definitely agree with you. I think that there's more control out of the side of OutCold Gaming. You got Kali, Stun, Tier, Fearless as well. Johnny and Sibi combined don't match up to that solo jungle from OutCold Gaming, whereas also even PrettyPriMe is going to be able to bring those Agni bomb stuns. It's a little easier, I think, to run away from the clay golems.
Yeah, for sure. Duwa will have a little bit more pressure in the late game. Kespainify, will he make it to the late game? Spudio with the first blood off the assist of FrostiaK, looking for his secondary kill. Fusify is all but dead here.
He wants level 2 so badly so that he can level up, get the underhand tactics, couldn't get a couple of more minions. And because he was trying to steal that purple for so long, he wasn't getting wave experience, and that's why he was still at level 1. This is the mind trap that a lot of people put themselves into, whether it's solo lane or the dual lane. Whenever you have something that can clear faster than the other, you put yourself in a position to want to invade, but the timing of that invade was around the 1.5 minute mark. That's a minute before the speed up respawns. There's plenty of time where FrostiaK can easily make that rotation. Not respecting the Kali there was Flashpoint.
Dual lane seems to be pretty early aggressive. A lot of times we see the focus kind of other places. So to see that early gank on the dual lane, not exactly unheard of, but to stay this aggressive, do you think that we're going to stay with our foot on the gas pedal, or will we start to look at other places on the map?
You're talking about for OutCold Gaming to
Just
stay
in general,
aggressive?
a lot of action here.
Oh, I would agree that there should be more pressure because HalfDevil playing this Bacchus, or Bacchus rather, is changes to Season 6, having more magical power because of the level 1 stuff. Being able to chug a level 1 just gives you more aggression at level 1, so you're looking to kind of extend that further. The problem was they didn't have that at level 1, but now with that gank from the Kali, I'm expecting HalfDevil with his level, with this 1 level lead rather, to be a little bit more aggressive as Spudio now builds himself a 1 level lead.
Well, Fusify able to confirm the purple buff there for him and his team, so a nice look to bounce back there, sort of.
And another thing is the race towards finishing off the stacks of the Hunter's Blessing because of the 2 kills that you gave to Spudio, which, by the way, is probably one of the best players outside of FrostiaK to give it to, is up in about 12 to 13 stacks, which is a entire 2 waves. That's 1 minute, so 1 minute faster to finish those stacks to be able to get that extra attack speed.
And don't forget, not just the kills, but the actual player damage, because Xbalanque is passive, giving him some extra power as well. So certainly a nice look to see Xbal pick up some of the extra hits there. That's already a nice look for Spudio. This OutCold Gaming team has a lot of name power. PrettyPriMe, one of the more celebrated players in the Pro League now, playing down here in the minor league, unable to really move for the league itself. FrostiaK has played there. Dimi has played at the highest level as well. But that said, Toli, something I really want to drive home is that this Flashpoint team has continued to improve over the years, and I think this is a team that can contend with OutCold, frankly.
I think so too, but simply because that they're willing to stick together. This is more than just individual players with talents behind them. This is the kind of chemistry that they want to build throughout the years.
Which is interesting because I'll be the first one to say that that's not always the right choice. I don't think if you get 5 players and stick together for the team that you're automatically going to win. You need a very special group of players, and I think Flashpoint could be one of those exceptions like we saw Rival do so many years ago.
That's right. Transitioning for Rival's side, they were Cyclone GG in Season 3, finishing second place at World Season 4, second place at World Season 5.
Second place at everything they have
basically
done.
I mean, like, no, they did win one thing, I thought. Can't really recall. But, I mean, they were the first team to give Energy their LAN loss after the 2 Worlds that they won consecutively. So
might as well get a trophy for that.
They kind of stopped the momentum that Energy had. So there is something to be said about a team that sticks together. They have developed a lot of strategies on Rival side, and I think Flashpoint are starting to develop their own set of ideas as well.
Well, OutCold Gaming starting to develop this team fight. FaraKrik once stood there No longer. Lights turned out by Spudio. Here comes the rest of the team fight. PrettyPriMe getting whacked on by the big baby, but Dzoni taking a lot of damage. The turnaround is good.
Oh, no.
The heal is better, but FrostiaK finds the lash after the ultimate dissipates. 4 kills in total. And although I had faith in Flashpoint, they quickly find themselves 1,600 down. Just 6 minutes in.
2 issues I saw for Flashpoint there. FaraKrik using the Aegis was good, but a better play would have been to use the ultimate to separate the distance. Preventing the knockup from HalfDevil was the crucial necessity.
Uh-oh, here comes Kali one more time. Kespainify doesn't have a jump, and FrostiaK uses his oddly. That's going to be a little bit rough there. That should be an easy kill for a Kali at this point, especially going against the AMC without movement ability.
Unfortunately for FrostiaK, he didn't have his ultimate to dive that tier 1 tower. He was really relying on that jump to find the last hit with an additional basic attack. Couldn't really find it with Spudio being out of range. So despite all of that, though, still forcing the AMC to back. So Spudio is just going to be very content about hanging out in that duo lane and just getting some farm.
Also, Kali, this isn't exactly where she shines. Kali does surprisingly well at level 1. You'd be surprised at how well she does at level 1.
As long as she's hitting her target.
Exactly. But it's very similar to Isis in the sense that after that immediate out-of-the-gate strength, you kind of are chilling for a while. Kali is a very late-game character, and so right now, you're kind of okay with just sending somebody back to base.
And that's fine, because you're setting that somebody as a Kespainify back to base, or Dzoni or FaraKrik from their deaths previously. That's going to allow the easy transition for FrostiaK, that is the late game hyper carry, to get in that position to really start snowballing. That's already sitting at 1-0-3 with 100% kill participation. You wouldn't expect a Kali to have that kind of presence this early in the game,
exactly.
But it's the mindset from FrostiaK to alleviate the pressure from the duo lane and just make sure everything is well balanced in all 3 lanes.
That's exactly what I was getting at. Just beautifully illustrated by Toli. Thank you so much. I definitely wrestling with my words this morning. Flashpoint wrestling with OutCold here. 2,000 gold down already at 8 minutes. Now, I think that the game has given players a number of options to kind of alleviate how strongly teams can kind of spiral out of control. We see a number of changes to the Gold Fury. The Fire Giant a little bit later will be more difficult to take than players are used to. But at the moment, the ball is definitely in the hands of OutCold, and to that point, I love the decision by Flashpoint to invade.
They're going to try to go onto FaraKrik for a little bit, using the Intoxicate, trying to blow up those minions in the sky as FaraKrik. He has Aegis available. Is it enough to save his life?
I don't think so, Toli. Down he goes to the hand of FrostiaK, but I think I'm okay with that in the long run. Looking mathematically, it doesn't really add up when you look at the gold, but I like to see Flashpoint's head still about it. You're down 2K, go for the tactical invade, and, you know, I'd rather trade my support than my mid laner.
Yes, I was about to say.
But all in all, the headspace isn't the right thought process.
So the problem with losing FaraKrik, because he's level 8 compared to PrettyPrime's level 9, is also the fact that FaraKrik is going for this cooldown build.
Right.
Shoes of Focus, and he's going to work also on another Chronos Pendant for an additional 20% CDR, so he's going to be lacking in the damage department. Nuon doesn't really come online until you get at least 3 points into the ultimate. You maxed out the Clay Golems to synergize with the Shining Metal combination, but he's going to be lacking damage because of the level disparity and lacking damage because of the item selection. So as long as OutCold Gaming can continue to dive this Nuwa, which they can, knowing that the Aegis is down for 2 more minutes, PrettyPriMe is just going to have a field day. FrostiaK is going to have a field day.
Very close to a non-factor Nuwa can feel like until the late game where you get ulted for a quarter of your HP, and you're sitting there like, where was this earlier?
But it's surprising to me still that Flashpoint were willing to take that risk despite the deficit that they currently have as we approach the 10-minute mark. They are down about 4 kills before that 5th one from FaraKrik, but they were still willing to go onto the red buff. The problem that I saw was Fusify was zoning, but he actually missed his stun onto HalfDevil, which might have allowed FaraKrik to just get away.
So I'm gonna make you double down because I'm unsure. But I think you might get out of it because we got a team fight totally. FaraKrik running here away from HalfDevil. Takes to the sky for the separation.
Wow.
Kespainify, big chunks by PrettyPriMe, but it's not enough to take him out. Dzoni, zoning, killing, kind of both here. Fusify jumps up top. Sibi looking for the jump. There's the ultimate. FrostiaK hit. Where's the ult? He pops it. Can he turn it around? The answer is no. Perfectly timed Jingu Bang. And Sibi puts his team on the board.
Great timing. Dzoni going in as well with the blink and knockup for the second kill out of Flashpoint. What looked to be actually in OutCold Gaming's favor is going the other way.
Yeah, Dzoni picks up the kill, but then gets traded out. Dimi making the rotation from the short side, goes for the ultimate, can't find the mid laner, hiding in the mist, won't get jumped on by either player. Under the tower is HalfDevil, under the ground is HalfDevil. Kespainify with the kill, cuts the OutCold kill lead in half. It's 3-6.
The bee just stinging from the side, completely unexpected. Flashpoint Gaming back in the game, I think, after those 3 kills, really shutting down where it mattered. Killing PrettyPriMe, killing FrostiaK. Those are the 2 players you gotta shut down from OutCold Gaming to get back in this game.
I love the way Flashpoint are playing this. Now, Dzoni right there does... It all goes according to plan from the outside looking in. Dzoni kind of trades himself out, but more importantly, forces OutCold to play over-aggressive. Flashpoint baited OutCold Gaming into thinking they could have gotten that easy. They dive the tower way too early, and Flashpoint are able to answer back. Still keeping this 2,000 gold deficit, but it doesn't get larger.
That's true.
And I think that's the big important part here for FP.
They just need to farm wherever they can get it,
Yep.
and that's going to allow them to get back into this game. I like the fact that FaraKrik survived long enough to be able to at least get off his ultimate, to spread out that damage. Dzoni making a good blink play, Sibi making a fantastic read. Once he knew FrostiaK's jump was down, he knew that there wasn't no blink, opting for beads at level 1 was FrostiaK, so he could easily use the Somersault Cloud, cut the distance, and wait out the Kali ultimate. By the way, the patience on FrostiaK of not using that ultimate to the barely last second, impressive stuff out of him.
Dzoni in trouble here, gonna dash away. Dot damage won't do it. FrostiaK waiting to the last second, and Sibi getting the timing perfect.
Oh yeah. That cudgel was beautiful. The one thing that, oh, hold that thought though, a little action on the left side. I think they think that they can kill HalfDevil.
Yeah, the rotation for PrettyPrime's going to be a little bit late. HalfDevil very low. There's the
So
ultimate
close.
straight out. Fusify's going to go down. Spudio with the turn and burn.
That's HalfDevil just utilizing
That's
the
rough.
Bacchus 14% damage mitigation.
Sibi's back. Over the top. Big damage from Spudio. Here comes Dzoni. Can't hit the Rang, but gets him with the hit after the fact. Sibi on the good side of that one. PrettyPrime's rotation finally coming through. Passive not intact. Sibi under the tower. And then FrostiaK gets him. Dzoni doing the...
I was going to say,
Oh, man.
like, they could have killed HalfDevil there, sure, but then they sacrificed 2 players for that one. Just give up the support. Let him go at the end of the day. Not really worth it. It was a 3 for 2 at the end. Fusify took a spill. OutCold Gaming still on the top currently. They're just grouping up really well. PrettyPrime making the necessary rotations.
That's really the key there. PrettyPrime is the difference maker here. Well, I've been saying that for 4 years of my Smite career. Moving out of the middle lane and just shoving this left side whenever need be. PrettyPrime absolutely making the difference. And that's why earlier, both that red buff in bait that didn't go their way and this bait on the left side just before this engagement, I commend Flashpoint for playing aggressive despite the fact that they're down, right? This last one, that was OutCold Gaming making the adjustment. They go, okay, Flashpoint aren't afraid of playing aggressive when they're down. Well, what if we show up with 4 players instead of 2? And they just punish Flashpoint correctly. Again, I think Flashpoint's ability to play while behind the 8 ball is very important, but OutCold Gaming got 500 gold for that fight on the left-hand side, and it extends their lead from 2,000 to 2,500. If Flashpoint are going to play aggressive, they have to get something out of it.
OutCold Gaming are just reacting to what Flashpoint wants to do. If they're going to try to look for a play on a HalfDevil, then OutCold Gaming are willing to take that fight at the end of the day. And Dimi has been really patient as well with his rotations. He rotates second, and he plays cleanup crew as well. And something that I want to commend him for is his ability to farm. He's been able to just still, without any kills, without any assists, he still makes some cleanup impacts, because once you see a tier level 15, you're just going to want to back off.
Yeah,
But
especially Dimi's tier, right?
yeah, and with Sibi being 2-1-2, just now hitting level 15 off of the farm on the right-hand side, he's been slacking in the experience per minute department, and this is where Dimi starts to escalate.
Gold's Fury halfway down, OCG in control. Fusify the only one here until Dzoni shows his face, knocked up. They're going to turn around and look at the baby. Now pulled off the Gold Fury. Good play. HalfDevil behind enemy lines and behind anywhere that his team can help. Dzoni now body blocked by his own teammate. Get out of the way, Fusify. The blink from Dimi. Fearless into the wall. The support jumps way on back. And here comes Sibi. Just knocking everybody up. FrostiaK here with the peel for his mid laner. The attention to the team from OCG is incredible.
Man, if either of these teams had a healer right now, they would be thriving because everyone taking so much damage. Yet again, Flashpoint overcommit onto HalfDevil that has so much mitigations. It's not even worth it going on him, honestly, at this point in the game. And because of that red in their eyes, Dzoni uses his ultimate preemptively trying to think that he can get the kill, avoid all the CCs, but he took too much damage. He had to back on out. And without that ultimate, I think OutCold Gaming can go for round 2.
Well, they're certainly looking for it. Fusify here, 60% on the objective and counting. Sibi going to be isolated and correctly targeted. Son Wukong is gone. The mid laner takes it to Sky. OutCold Gaming on the aggressive. Fusify taking a lot of damage. Dzoni going to tag in and out. Cold Fury has been leashed and picked up again one more time. 4 on 5. Nope, OCG don't want the objective. OutCold Gaming correctly identified. It's funny because right before this happened, the conversation I was going to go into was that both solo laners are doing exactly what their teams need them to do. Both solo laners are playing a very strong game, and they're playing very different games. And I think that's part of the fun of solo lane. Sibi has been much more involved, being the first one in, being aggressive, early rotations, but that's because his team has been faltering across the map, whereas Dimi has been coming in late, making the impact that you highlighted, but that's exactly what his team needs. Two very different characters, two very different strategies, because the team needs two very different things. But then Sibi has been the difference maker. OutCold Gaming noticed that and took him out right here.
Left-hand side, Kespainify going to get flopped on and stunned. Spudio with the last hit in the duel lane. A huge 5-on-4 advantage for 40 seconds. I don't think they're going to falter around Gold Fury this time, Tom.
Yeah, this one. Well, backing is OutCold Gaming. A little bit too low in their opinion to go for the objective.
They have time. 30 seconds remaining on Kespainify. If they don't get this Gold Fury, I'd be shocked, especially when you're dealing with Agni bombs. If FaraKrik steps up in the wrong place, the plan for OutCold Gaming is to just immediately jump on him. As they're waiting for some rotations on the Gold Fury, controlling the mid space is going to be HalfDevil, just baiting and tempting FaraKrik to get out of position.
Well, OutCold Gaming, that's exactly what it looks like they're doing. 4 players spacing the enemy into the mid lane. Dimi going back to base, does have the teleport available, so can rotate to the left-hand side. Everybody looking at Dzoni, gets to the ultimate. Too little, too late.
Wow. Too much CC.
Doesn't for OutCold Gaming.
He went for Thorns, no beads, so once you get stunned, you're just a sitting duck. Dimi a little bit off the mark there after he teleports in a nice angle. That would have been another kill, more than likely. Gold Fury very low.
Yeah, it's still controlled by OutCold Gaming. They haven't leashed it yet. Sibi with a triple knockup gets the leash. Great job. Again, Sibi doing exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah, FaraKrik going to go down to FrostiaK. Couldn't even get off the ultimate in time. Running for his life is Fusify. Sibi nowhere to go after landing from the Somersault Cloud. OutCold Gaming, so patient. They leash the Gold Fury as soon as they see Sibi use the Ox form going in, and they reset, go onto him, force the Somersault Cloud. Everybody from Flashpoint trying to get a little bit too close to steal the objective, but without Kespainify, as he was still rotating from respawn, they had no business because of the range from PrettyPriMe. You come anywhere within the vicinity of the Gold Fury, you're getting Agni bomb stun, you're getting belly flopped, and that's exactly what happened to Dzoni, making it a 5-on-3 to start that engagement.
You know what it feels like right now, Anatoly? Flashpoint are doing a lot of the right thing. Let's recheck the score. It's 30 seconds short of 20 minutes, and Flashpoint found themselves trailing a ton of kills, 7,000, 6,000 gold, right? What it feels like to me is Flashpoint they're in a boat, they're using buckets to take the water out. But OutCold Gaming are just pushing too hard. Flashpoint haven't really made that many mistakes, in my opinion. It's just that OutCold Gaming are playing harder, better, faster, question mark?
You can say all three for sure. I think the composition is what it comes down to. There's not that many escapes from Flashpoint. FaraKrik needs the ultimate. Kespainify needs to rely on his hives for the movement speed against a Bacchus Agni. You just take one wrong step too far forward, like even an inch, and OutCold Gaming are going to take a mile.
The problem is that FaraKrik is in the same boat. One of these, I feel like Nuwa is fine, AMC is fine, strong, arguably, in a vacuum. But when your whole team has a trouble escaping danger, I mean, that really becomes an issue.
It absolutely is. The draft from Flashpoint was trying to be a little bit too fancy with, hold that thought though, a lot of action right out to Sibi.
Yeah, it's all target on the son Wukong. They know he's been a thorn in the side of OutCold Gaming. Kespainify picks up the tower and now makes the rotation. FaraKrik, isolated by Dimi, goes into the sky, activates the Aegis, and gets punished. Dimi with the solo kill out of the mid laner, but Dzoni answers back, taking care of the carry. Dimi with the better part of a double kill, looking towards Fusify, and there's FrostiaK to finish things up. Kespainify never made it to the team fight, and the 5-on-4 goes the way of OutCold Gaming. 500 for the tier 1 tower. And they're off to get 15 off of the tier 2, it looks like.
Flashpoint just have no vision control, so once they step into this jungle, they're running into the trap that OutCold Gaming is setting up beautifully. Every time PrettyPriMe and HalfDevil are together, they're going on the same target. Sibi was that initial target, forcing that Somersault Cloud very early. Whenever you're forcing a Sun Wukong to use an ultimate not on his terms, that's how you know you're going to have a good fight, regardless if you get a pick early or not. And I liked what Dimi did there. He ignored the Sun Wukong after thinking about where he's going to land. Instead, he sees FaraKrik all alone in the mid lane. Lawbringers over the top, baits out the ultimate, waits out the ultimate, waits out the Aegis. Great patience from Dimi, getting a kill in the mid lane.
That's been his claim to fame for so many years here, Anatoly. The patience of Dimi, the steady hand of Dimi. I mean, going back to when Dimi was playing for Epsilon and Panthera even, right? His claim to fame was playing Guan Yu, losing the lane, and then beating you up later on. Playing tier, losing the lane, and then ganking your mid laner halfway through the game. Dimi has been, I mean, it's always interesting to say the number one, but one of the most patient players in Smite history for sure.
He didn't even have to use Blink in that last engagement. That just goes to show you the thought process that he had, that he would rather do the damage of the Lawbringer before the Aegis came out, and this is the little things that he does to really put a thorn on his opposition as Flashpoint have a huge deficit, almost 10,000 gold, as OutCold Gaming are posturing as if they want to at least bait out a Fire Giant fight.
And they absolutely can. Looking for the team fight is the correct play in my opinion. OutCold Gaming should do just that. Dzoni separated from the team. OutCold Gaming can either collapse on the baby or collapse on the rest of the squad. Fire Giant pulled, 90% so far. Sibi stunned out. Still focus on the FG. Dzoni has the flank available, but OutCold Gaming sniff it out. Stun over the wall from PrettyPriMe. There's a dash. Sibi forcing the ultimate already. FaraKrik forced up as well. HalfDevil up front. Uses a big bunch of damage, and here comes the rotation from FrostiaK. Sibi gets the first kill, but FrostiaK answers back immediately. Kespainify gets a kill. This could go Flashpoint's way, but a big double fearless, and Dimi barrels down the opposition. Kespainify sit down,
the
baby.
target!
And so will Fusify the re-heal, and here comes Dzoni.
They want more though, because Dzoni is gonna go down as FrostiaK gets another one. That's gonna be a hot deicide. Flashpoint, we're looking to win, but when you're dealing with a late game Kali, almost full build, and she's hitting her target, there's no way OutCold Gaming was gonna lose that one. Great stuff. They're gonna get rewarded with a Fire Giant now.
Also, straight up and down, watching good tier play is some of the most fun I have in this job. And Dimi has been one of the go-to tier players forever. Oh, please, FaraKrik, don't touch the Fire Giant.
Oh no, FrostiaK, please.
FrostiaK
I saw what they were
eats
doing.
it.
They stopped the TPS on purpose, so that way they can at least allow HalfDevil and Spudio to get the Fire Giant. But he
FrostiaK
took
right now.
too much. See, this is the new mechanic that players are still getting adjusted to, was these little lava pools underneath you. And when you're having two melee characters side by side, they needed to kind of get it on the outer edge and then collapse in the middle, or vice versa. Be in the middle and then collapse on the outer edge. And
Well, listen, I'm not gonna highlight FrostiaK's death there. I think he had a fantastic team fight. Let's highlight the Dimi play on tier. I want to see that one more time because good tier play is some of the most exciting stuff that we see in Smite. So check this out. Dimi's just chasing them down and doing this whole, but it's the Blink 180 Fearless at the last moment. So right now, everything's going according to plan. There it is, just dashing through. That's where Dimi gets the kill. FrostiaK gets the kill onto his target. And the Oni Fury happens real time. We'll come back to that tier play. But Oni Fury goes the way of OutCold Gaming. And the big deal really is that OutCold has just wrestled control of this game.
Oh, and speaking of wrestling, Fusify forced to go into the Draconic form. Will jump away at the last possible moment before the belly flop connects. Will cancel it, actually, surprisingly enough, before dropping a coerce. I think he still had a little bit more time that he could have used, at least onto Sibi or FrostiaK there, or FaraKrik. But losing their tier 1 tower on the left, they're probably going to lose their tier 2 tower as well. Spudio has the Fire Giant. So. I don't see how they defend this.
It's going to be a little bit rough. FrostiaK and Dzoni doing the dance in the jungle. Blink forward from Sibi immediately into the ultimate. Effective at keeping the enemy at bay, but on the back line is here Dimi. Moving for the Fearless. He'll whiff. Now trying to find a little bit more. Double knockup coming out from HalfDevil. What a game he's had. Intoxicate looks good. FaraKrik down to half HP. That creates the space OutCold Gaming need. They'll take down the tier 2. 1,500 in the pocket. 22-8. And OutCold Gaming up 10K.
And this is why I say, like, defending that tier 2 tower is super risky because, yeah, they don't lose anybody, but they had to expend Sibi's Blink ultimate, FaraKrik's ultimate, Fusify got caught out earlier, and honestly, I think OutCold Gaming could have continued that pressure under the Phoenix on the left-hand side if they really wanted to. FrostiaK still had the Blink ultimate. He could easily make a play happen at the drop of a dime.
So right now, Flashpoint definitely under the thumb of OutCold Gaming. The question everybody asking at home, how do they get out of this rut? I think the answer is strong defense. The ability of Kespainify to cut down the waves of minions very strong. FaraKrik does have a decent way of keeping the enemy at bay with respect to the clay minion stun.
I think a lot of this also comes down to OutCold Gaming focusing out Johnny's God Pool. They banned out the Wukong, or very early, and they picked the Kali after secondary ban phase, which was beautiful. They also banned the Bacchus during secondary ban phase. And this puts Dzoni in a position where he's playing Vamana, but he's kind of building it like a soul lane, except minus the executioner.
Right.
And when your team's already losing, Vamana's not a character that's going to bring you out of a losing position into a victory. Your team has to be already creating enough of a chaotic war zone for this Vamana that has Blink to just run rampage,
and
but it's not being enabled yet.
And that seems like a, well, duh, totally comment, but when you look at characters that were banned out, Wukong with the execute, Bacchus with the true damage, there are a number of options that Dzoni excels at that you can get behind and then still take over the game. And in fact, Flashpoint have had a lot of success doing just that.
The problem is those characters are building damage. The Wukong's, the Bacchus, the Kalis, Dzoni playing the Vamanas playing more defensive-centric, which is fine. But the problem is, who's dealing damage if FaraKrik has to use the ultimate to get away? Who's dealing damage if Kespainify is running away from Dimi the whole time?
So if Sibi is going hybrid the way Johnny's going hybrid, does it equal the same thing?
No, it doesn't. You need your jungler to deal more damage than what Johnny's been able to do thus far. Sitting at the second bottom of the pack there, right above Fusify, almost tied there rather with Kespainify. And it's just difficult for them. I'm not saying like they're bad players that they can't deal damage.
No,
just,
I don't think anybody takes it that way.
It's just that they haven't been in a position to do the damage because it's OutCold Gaming striking first.
HalfDevil in some trouble here, 25% as he tries to make the play out of the enemy support.
Nice shell.
One shot, here comes Dzoni. That's a good play. How do Flashpoint react now? They have the 5-on-4 power play, but Sibi has to go back to base.
A very good kill from Dzoni, and this is what I mean when Vamana is a character that just plays cleanup.
Yeah.
Any character in Johnny's position would have been able to do that, and Dzoni was just playing a buffer to make sure nobody else would help HalfDevil in that position, and that's the one thing that Vamanas can do well that most other solo laners / junglers can't.
Understanding this is a best of 3, And understanding that Dimi is going to find Kespainify, Fearless, Power Cleave, Aegis for the moment, Spudio for the marathon. Kespainify goes down, Fusify goes down, Sibi goes down, 3 players be sleeping. Make it 4, make it 4.
Mansell.
The beads.
They're not done yet, though. They're going to chase this one out. A good
Make it
stun.
4.
Speed buff, Kali. Got Hasten Katana. No way you're going to run away from that. There was no speed buff onto Dzoni, even though he did have the Traveler shoes, just not enough to get away from that one.
Katana Chins is generally kind of game over for Kalima. If you have
game over now.
It absolutely could be with the amount of damage that OutCold Gaming have. PrettyPriMe looking for FaraKrik. Big damage over the wall. FaraKrik gonna take it, and he's gone before he leaves the ground. 5 players in the fountain. And that's going to be game number 1. OutCold Gaming up on top.
27-9. It was just an impressive performance from FrostiaK on this Kali. Ever since he rotated around the 1.5 minute mark on that dual lane, alleviating the pressure, making sure this AMC Fafnir wasn't going to pop off or look for any purple buff invades. OutCold Gaming started pairing up HalfDevil's Bacchus with PrettyPrime's Agni, and the amount of CC was just so destructive. I just didn't really see a world where they could have gotten themselves out of that position.
I'm a huge proponent for this team across the way. Fusify, Kespainify, Dimi on tier, FrostiaK on Kali. It's always going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
These guys got kind of their signature characters. They were able to do their signature thing and bring home the victory. PrettyPriMe with the rotations. Taco on the desk.
And me. Hey, I'm here too,
just
Tom.
me.
No, that's fine. Okay, yeah, if you just want to... Oh, hey, there.
Fuzzies.
Do you just want to go to your single and you do it by
I think
yourself?
this would be a great time to
Cool.
do this. So, to wrap things up for you guys, Spudio kind of just did the thing the entire way through. And I really got to commend this Kali pick because I definitely I was skeptical. I can't lie about the fact that I was a little bit skeptical in terms of this Kali making it to the late game stages, but Spudio on the Xbalanque particularly, I think that he was able to bring the early game pressure that really allowed that Kali to prosper.
And usually Xbalanque is not your early game pressure sort of god, but with that botched invade, I have to say, by the way, HalfDevil played really, really well this game. I mean, he was near PrettyPriMe in damage numbers through the mid game. I mean, that's exactly how you want to play Bacchus. You want to be the initiator, you want to be aggressive, and you want to put out a lot of damage at the same time. And HalfDevil really showed the difference that a true support can make in this game.
And I was really liking the Bacchus pick as well because it's just a god that HalfDevil can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with and not necessarily suffer as heavy of repercussions in comparison to Fusify or Kespainify, where their dual lane kind of struggled, I think, in that if they were out of position just a little bit too much so, then the Bacchus flops were just so detrimental for them.
And you mentioned the Kali 11-2 for FrostiaK. You want to take it away from Dzoni. You want to, take a god away from the other team. Sometimes you don't always perform to the best, but it's about they didn't get it. Well, FrostiaK performed really, really well and took it away from Dzoni simultaneously. 12,000 damage on the Vamana, 21,000 damage on FrostiaK's Kali. By the way, Dimi's tier, it's still pretty good. By the way, who would have guessed?
He had pretty high damage numbers as well. I mean, almost hitting 22k. It just felt like everyone from OutCold Gaming was able to really synergize their kits and their target selection as well. I think that FrostiaK did an excellent job with initiating, and it felt a lot like he was leading the charges on this Kali and really helping to direct the rest of OutCold to follow up with him.
This was the fight, though, where FrostiaK gets the reset very, very low. That Blink Fearless is just nuts from Dimi on top of that. And then we don't talk about what happened on the Fire Giant. He was waiting for his team. It didn't count. It's not like he
it
actually...
happens.
Look, because FrostiaK died, two people got Fire Giant. They traded 2 for 1 on the Fire Giant buff. That's a net positive. That's big brain right there.
I would take that if I'm FrostiaK. I mean, at the end of the day, it got him the game win.
I guess so. But if I were FrostiaK, I wouldn't take it. If I were anybody else, I'd probably take it. But if I'm FrostiaK, no way. I'm playing Kali, man. I need this Fire Giant buff. You can't be taking that from me.